And if anyone's watched Squid Game, I think that's what I'll do next. It's a show on Netflix, 1 season. I think they're setting it up for more, which I was surprised because at first it seemed like it would maybe be a standalone thing. But I'm not mad about it. This was excellent. This show is like pretty great. So let's get into it. What are you saying, Stevie? Just a second here. I've been watching American Horror Story. The current season is set near Boston. Boston. Because it's not real, of course. McCulkin plays a meth-addicted whore. Nice. No Kathy Bates or Angela Bassett this season, but I'm pissing myself all the same. I've seen like a little bit of season 1 of American Horror Story. And I think that's it. And honestly, I don't know. I don't really care that much. Does that make me a bad guy? I don't really have that much of an interest in watching it. It's a cool concept though, I'll give it that. Each season being different. If you love it, good. You're allowed to love it. But I'm allowed to not really want to watch it. Anyways, thanks for watching, folks. We're going to talk about Squid Game, and if anyone's seen Squid Game, come join me in the Discord. I'll put it in right now. We can talk about it if you want. I'm going to put it on the board here. Squid Game. It's a Korean show on Netflix, and I watched the dubbed version, but if you prefer just subtitles, you could do that too, obviously. But it was dubbed pretty well. Like, it's not like a bad kung fu movie where what they're saying probably isn't even actually what they're saying. I think it's competently done, at least. Squid. I did a lowercase q and a higher case everything else, but I think that's okay. Squid Game. So, I really enjoyed this show. It was interesting. So, it starts off where we meet our main character, and I honestly... Oh, wait, what's his name? Is it Gun Hee? It might be Gun Hee. Let's say Gun Hee, because that's what I think it is. He's this really poor guy. He can't really seem to catch a break. He is working as a chauffeur, living with his mother, hardly making any money, trying to pay child support. He's not together with his wife anymore. He's super broke. They show him gambling. And he actually wins a little bit, but then he runs into someone and they pickpocket him and he just can't catch a break. So his debt collectors catch up to him and I think they like fuck up one of his fingers or cut off the tip of it or something. And they're like, fucking give me my money. So he's obviously super desperate for money. And a guy in a subway train station goes up to him and is like, you want to play a game? And I forget what this game's called. I'm a Korean, possibly just Asian and in general game. But the object of the game is you got these two like paper squares. There's a paper square on the ground and you like throw the other paper square at the paper square on the ground and you try to like flip it or something. And so they're playing that game, and each time that he loses, he gets slapped by this guy, but then when he finally wins, he gets a little bit of money. And then he gives him a business card. He's like, phone this if you want to compete in these fucking games. And what these games are is all these poor people are competing in these like childhood games like red light, green light, and marbles and shit. But if you lose, you die. You either get shot or you get killed in a way that pertains to the game that they're playing. But yeah, it's fucking heavy and holy shit. This show got me binging hard. I watched the whole thing like in 2 days or so, pretty fast. And there's 9 episodes. Each one's like an hour long, but I wasn't bored for 1 second of this show. I think it's quite excellent. Squid Games. Or is it just Squid Game? It might just be Squid Game. Pogs. Yeah, they don't do Pogs. And then, like I said, there's some Asian games that I'm not familiar with that they play, like the Squid Game itself. Which, if I could, and they start the whole show. The first scene you see is them as kids playing the Squid Game, so you sort of learn the rules. And I'm gonna try to explain the rules of the Squid Game, but I'm probably gonna get it wrong. So there's a squid-shaped court, and I think you're supposed to like get to the end of it, and you can only hop on one leg until you're at like the end of the squid or something. And I forget the exact rules, but that's how it ends. That's the last game. I won't tell you how it actually ends, but that's because there's 6 games in these deadly games that all these poor people are playing. These desperate poor people, and I mean poor in more than one sense, because it's really sad. And you have the rich people at the top, and you see this later. And Stevie and I were talking a little while ago. We were talking about I talked about this game a little bit. I mean this show a little bit, and then Stevie mentioned Rat Race and how it's sort of like Rat Race, because in Rat Race these rich people are betting on poor people racing. But this is sort of like Rat Race if it was much more extreme, and then if these poor people that they were betting on died. So this is a more like cutthroat, similar message in that way, with the rich people controlling the strings and stuff, but it's much less intense, Rat Race, I mean, of course, than this show. Rat Race, Running Man, yeah, basically. And yeah, I'll talk about some of the other games, although I don't really want to ruin too many of them, because that's part of the fun of you not knowing the games, well, going into it, what they're going to be. And because the players don't know what they're going to be either, or like, obviously the actors probably knew, but the characters, they don't know what it's going to be until they actually have to play the game. And another big point of this show is sort of the animalistic nature of humans, and like, what will you do to win if it means like your skin or somebody else's, and you getting to the end to make so much money, because that's the whole point. If you get to the end, you get a bunch of money. The rules are, it starts off with 456 players, and if half of the players at any point say that we want to quit, then they all have to quit the game, but they can also all come back at any time if they want to. But, so yeah, I thought that was interesting, because that's how it sort of starts, where they do one game and they realize, oh my god, they're fucking like killing us and shit, this is crazy. And if you're wondering like how they get these people and put them in here, they get them like waiting outside their apartment or their house or whatever, and then they bring them into their cars, and then they like get gassed out, and then they take them on a ferry onto an island. So it's this super complicated setup that's obviously being controlled by layers and layers of different people, and there's obviously got to be like some super rich people at the top controlling the strings, and towards the end, like I said, we sort of get to see sort of who is pulling the strings, at least to a certain extent. And I don't want to give away too much too. I definitely don't. Shout out Nightbot, yeah, Stevie, that's right, they need one. What do we got here? Rat Race, Running Man, Gladiator type shit goes way back. Well, no, oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, this is sort of reminiscent of some of definitely for at least one of the scenes in this show, it's very much like Gladiator. But let's look at the Wikipedia here. I'm going to type in Squid Game. And I think people are talking about this. Not that many, like, of my, like, I think my brother watched this too, and but like a lot of, I haven't heard of that many people talking about it. But I think for the people that are talking about it, I loved it. I haven't heard anyone saying, who has seen it, saying that it's bad yet. Anyway, Squid Game. Yeah, it is just Squid Game, not Squid's Game. That's something else apparently. Oh, this is the Wikipedia page for the actual game. Actually, I'm kind of interested. So the Squid Game, Korea, also known as just Squid or Olingo, Korean, is a children's game in Korea. So it is Korea specific. The game is named as such because the shape of the game board is drawn on the ground resembles a squid, obviously. And there are regional variations of the name, such as Squid Gaysan or Gaisan. I could be saying that wrong. It's a multiplayer game, and the game is divided into two teams, offensive and defensive. There are two main purposes: either the attackers to achieve the purpose of the attack, or the teams to annihilate each other. Oh, okay, yeah, oh, that's right. And they say that in the show that it's kind of a violent children's game. And that's why it's sort of fitting for it to be in this. And that's why maybe that's why it's the actual name of the show. Anyway, yeah, I meant the TV series. Squid Game TV show. I don't think that there is a or at least I can't find it, a Wikipedia to this, but I'm just gonna look it up on Google real quick and just see if I'm getting the title right at least. And I think I am. Yeah, I see. Squid Game may become Netflix's biggest show ever, Netflix co-CEO says. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, it's fucking good. Like, I'm gonna give it a pretty crazy good rating. Like, I don't have, like, very much negative to say at all about it. My brother was saying that it was a little over the top, but I think that's good. I think it makes it more interesting, it makes it more fun. And even though it's over the top, it's still very serious, and it's still very, like, disturbing and sad at points. And I think it captures all the emotions that it's trying to. It's good. It was really good. And they have all, like, the henchmen working at this evil island, for lack of a better term. They're all wearing, like, these orange jumpsuits and black masks with either a square, a triangle, or a circle on it. I think the circle people are the lowest, and then the triangle are the middle, and then the square are the highest ranked out of the henchmen. But then there's somebody we see with, like, a shiny mask, and they're, like, the big boss. But yeah, and oh yeah, another thing about this show that's super awesome. It looks so good. I was talking about Terminator. This is like the opposite of Terminator Salvation. Terminator Salvation looks like sand, looks like gray, looks like sad, looks like trash. This looks like whimsy, fun, fear, love, and sometimes food. But there's this one particular, like, set that they have. It's like these multicolored staircases going every which way, and it looks so cool. This room that they go through quite a bit. Yeah, I love the sets and the visual look of this in general, though, but that room in particular is fantastic. I remember as soon as I saw it, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I was literally, like, saying that out loud to my TV. This is so awesome, oh my god. So yeah, huge thumbs up to this, for this show. I don't know if I'm ready to rate it. I could probably talk a little bit more about it. So there's lots of characters in this, and I do not want to give away stuff, because I want people to be equally as surprised and shocked and in love with this show as I am. So I'm going to try to skim out the details, if that's the right way of putting that. But anyway, let's talk about some of the characters. So there is, and I think I'm getting this wrong, Song Woo, I think, is this businessman who went to SNU business school, and he got this big name for himself, but I guess he did some wrong things because he's then wanted for financial fraud, and that's why it leads him to these games, to the Squid Games, because he's desperate. All these people are desperate. They need a way out, and even though the death is almost seems inevitable at one point in the show, they still do it because they want that money. And every time somebody dies in the Squid Game, I forget how much money, but like a little bit more money goes into this big piggy bank that's just like floating up above everybody's head in the room where everybody sleeps, because on this island, because that's again where this takes place. They're almost like prisoners, but they're sort of like racehorses. They're but if you just like shot a racehorse when they lost, I guess maybe sometimes they do that. That's sad. But I digress a little bit. This show is really awesome, and it's got a lot of moments where it's like, holy fuck, like, I'm anxious, or like, whoa, what's gonna happen, you know? And you even find yourself wondering if the main character is gonna make it, even though you're like, it's the main character. They gotta make it. But, part of you's like, what if they don't, though? What if they don't? So yeah, it's really good. Free parking. What you talking about? But yeah, this show's good. Squid Game. I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, Song Woo, his character develops, and that's sort of like the example I was talking about, where you'll do anything to win. Song Woo will do anything to win, and to restore his name, and to get that money so he can help his mom. But it leads him to do some extremely questionable and disturbing things. Again, I'm being vague, so I don't want to give too much away. And then there's a character, Ali, I love Ali. He's so sweet. And again, I don't want to ruin anything, but let's just say he's sweet, and he's the only, well, not the only, but he's the only, well, he's one of the only, let's say, immigrant characters in this movie, and definitely among the players, he's the only one. I think they say he's from Pakistan. His name's Ali, and he's just so sweet. He saves Gun-hee, the main character's life, in red light, green light. I'm gonna give away maybe just the first game a little bit, because it's in the trailer and shit too. But the red light, green light, when the way that it works is they have this big, like, doll, basically, a giant female doll that senses when you walk, so they'll go red light or green light, and when it's green light you walk, and then if you are moving when it's red light, they'll shoot you, this big doll. And there's a point where Ali is holding Gun-hee, because Gun-hee is about to fall, and they would move and then they would get shot, but Ali saves Gun-hee's life. So that right then you're like, I like this guy, Ali's nice, saving him. And then they sort of start to form a bond, and they start to form alliance between their groups of people, and there's like they find out that, like, even if you just kill someone not in a game, that they'll still put money in the bank and just take the body away and cremate it. And they have all these coffins that look like gift wrap boxes. There's a lot of cool imagery in this. It's just a really good looking show, and it's super interesting. And again, I don't want to ruin anything, but I'm gonna be super vague when I talk about the ending. The ending leaves it super open-ended of what could happen, and I'm really intrigued at what could happen in the next season. Even though, like I said, I thought this was maybe gonna be standalone, but I mean, come on, it's Netflix. They're gonna fucking milk it if they think they can, and I think they for sure can. This is really good stuff. Whoa, piggy bank. Yeah, the money goes in the piggy bank when someone dies. Exactly. Um, but yeah, this this show's really quite good. Squid Game. Oh yeah, and I gotta talk about the old man character. And I really don't want to spoil anything about him, but I won't spoil anything. We'll just talk about. There's an old man character, and they all have numbers on their jumpsuits. For what number of player they are, and there's this really old man who's dying of cancer, and he is number 1, and he's number 456, and that's out of 456 players. And they start to form a bond right at the beginning. And there's a scene, because remember when I said that if at any point over half of the players want to quit the game, then they're allowed to quit the game. So they do that at one point, but they're also allowed to come back into the game, and obviously they do. But at one point, they're outside in the regular world in Korea, and they happen to meet each other in the real world, Gun-hee and the old man. And just this little bit of kindness, because you can see they're both like fucking not doing so well, they're low on the money. Player number 1 has this little bit of noodle brick he shares, they like break it and like pour the powder on and share it and stuff. And I thought that was really sweet. It's like, share what you have, you know, be kind to your friends, help people when you can, that kind of thing. I'm super big on. So those are like, I don't know, a lot of people wouldn't maybe even mention that scene, but that stuck with me. Because it just sort of thought, you know, that's sort of a nice sort of feeling. Anyway, what else to say about this? It's so awesome. I should talk about, there's a character who's looking for his brother who disappeared. And these games have been going on for years. This is another interesting part of the show. And, yeah, no, actually I'm not going to say that. But yeah, these games have been going on for years, I can say that. And we find out that, yeah, he's trying to find his brother, and he ends up, when they go back to the games, when they go to the games for the second time, after decided to not all of them, but most of them decide to go back, they're desperate, they need money. This guy who's a police officer looking for his brother, he, like, fastens himself to one of the vehicles that goes onto the ferry. So he manages to smuggle himself aboard and take one of the henchmen's place. And this is another thing that I really liked about it. It was, they never show this in shit, and they showed this in this. Where, you know the classic, you bonk someone on the head and they pull somebody, like a guard or whatever, into the closet, and then you have the character come out wearing their garments. They do that in this, but they actually show more of it, and I liked that. I really liked it, because you never see more of it. They actually show him, like, taking him and, like, starting to put on the clothes and stuff, and so you actually see a little more of it. I don't know. It's little things like that. I appreciate the attention to detail this show puts in. But yeah, I really liked it. And like I said, I watched this dubbed, but it was still pretty well dubbed. And yeah, all the voice actors did a pretty good job, in my opinion. The one they got to do the old man was pretty fitting. Sometimes the voice was not super fitting, but for the most part it worked. And even when it wasn't fitting, it still worked, because I can still suspend my disbelief enough. But no, this show is really good. Like, I'm gonna give it a pretty high rating. I'm running out of things to say, but let's just. Oh yeah, there's no Wikipedia to my knowledge on this. But oh no, here it is. I found it. Boom. Oh yeah, and something that I learned, I didn't know this, the currency in Korea is called won. And it's pronounced W-O-N. And when I was reading the subtitles at first, because I watched this dub, but I also watched with subtitles. Because I watch most things with subtitles just to make sure I catch everything. But yeah, won is the currency, and it was saying ones, and in the first couple of scenes they're gambling, so I thought they meant like 450,000 won, like that's how many dollars they won or whatever. But then I was like, oh duh, that's the currency, won. So that was kind of a funny moment for me. But let's just read this. Squid Game is a South Korean survival drama television series written and directed by Hwang Dong-hyuk. The 9-episode series, starring Lee Jung-jae, Park Hae-soo, and Wee Ha-jun, tells the story of a group of 456 people who are invited to risk their lives in a mysterious survival game with the 45.6 billion. I'm so glad that Wikipedia did this. It has in brackets. It's like the same as 38.7 million. So it's a ton of money. So yeah, they're competing for that money. Congratulations, won. Yeah. No, WON, yes. You just won 100 won. Yeah, exactly. It was a little confusing, but then I got it. No, yeah, I don't really... Oh, yeah. I'm going to talk about one more of the games, and then I will shut up about the games, because I do want to leave them sort of a little mysterious. Okay, honestly, no. Because a lot of this show is built on, like, the suspense and you wondering what's going to happen next. So actually, no. I'm not going to. I think let's just end it here. And I'm going to rate Squid Game. I really liked it. I'm going to give it a really high rating. But, you know, it's no Pootie Tang. But it's really good. It's technically better than Pootie Tang. But you know how I feel about Pootie Tang. I love it. I give it a 10 out of 10 every time, but not quite 10 out of 10 for this, but it's going to be close. Here we go.
Hey, Rob, shut the fuck up!
Okay. Yeah, 9.5 out of 10 for Squid Game. I really would recommend it. It's super, like, exciting. Makes you want to watch it. Like, each episode. It was a similar feeling for me to watching Breaking Bad. Just like you want to watch the episode. Bing, bang, bang, bang. Let's go. It was near that quality, I would say, for wanting to watch the next episode really fast. So yeah, 9.5 out of 10 for Squid Game.